Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be customizing the brand new Ocelot Virtue. Now if you guys want to know how to get this thing, I will be making a video about that right after this customization comes out, so stay tuned. It should be on the channel in just a few minutes, but for right now we're going to start customizing the brand new Ocelot Virtue. Thank goodness we have this in Grand Theft Auto Online. I'm so excited about this. It is an Imani Tech capable car, so we're going to go ahead and head down to the agency and then start customizing. So guys, here we are inside of the agency. We have quite a few customization options for this thing so far, so that is pretty cool. Under the aerials, which is of course where we're starting here, we have a few different things that we can put onto the vehicle. These are all canards under aerials, which seems odd to me, but that's fine. Let's go for the secondary fin racing canards on this vehicle. The armor, we're going to go all the way up on this. For the armor plating, we are going to put the body armor on because obviously this is a new supercar with Imani Tech and body armor. We have to do that. Race brakes, got to do that as well. For the bumpers, we do have front and rear options, and they are pretty good looking options so far. I have to say, I do kind of like the look of some of these. It's some pretty crazy options. Like that's like a full like GT2 bumper, which is pretty neat. I think that I want to go for something a little more like basic though. Let's just go for like the primary, or let's go secondary street splitter. And then for the rear bumpers, we can do several different options here. Let's go for the secondary trim GT diffuser. I think that looks crazy, or maybe not. Maybe just the secondary trim diffuser. I kind of like the look of that a little better. Let's do that. For the engine, we're going to max that out, of course. For the canards, we can add some to the front of this car as well. Let's do the street splitter canards. I kind of like the look of those. Let's do that. Imani Tech, of course, we can put the remote control unit on, or the missile lock-on jammer. You know we're going for the missile lock-on jammer, obviously. Xenon for the lights, of course, we're going to do that. Could put on some neon to lower the center of gravity of the car, but I think I'm going to avoid it for this vehicle because I'm just trying to make it look as good as possible. Now there are several different livery options for this car, starting off with none. I think it looks pretty great. We also have the white wide racing stripes, the yellow wide racing stripes as well, the white double racing stripes, yellow double. We have the black diagonal racing stripes. That's kind of interesting. The yellow classic sports, the Estancia Racing, the Camo, and the Freedmind Therapeutics, which we get with the car. So that is pretty neat. I feel like for my build today, I want to go for the white double racing stripes. So let's go for that. Or maybe we go for the white wide racing stripe. Let's go white wide actually on second thought. For the mirrors on this car, we have the primary mirrors on by default. We can also remove them, and I would assume you get cameras in place of them. Let's go secondary on them though. I feel like that's going to look good. For the plate, yellow on black. It has mindful as the plate. I just want to point that out. Kind of cool. We can also put the oil slick proximity mine dropper on this thing. We're going to do that as well. For the respray of the car, I have an idea in mind that I kind of want to go for, and it's going to revolve around going for ultra blue for the primary color, and for the secondary color I would like to go for an ice white to match up with the livery option. Hopefully we can change some things about this because I'm not a super fan of how it all comes together, but I think for right now it looks pretty decent. For the interior color, I want to go for a shadow silver. I feel like that's going to complement the rest of the car pretty nicely, so that looks good. For the roof, we can add the small racing scoop, the sports racing scoop as well, the performance racing scoop, or of course the GT racing scoop. Now this is an electric car, which I think is kind of odd, but I guess for some cabin cool air, we will go for the sports racing scoop. Kind of like the look of that. For the side skirts on this thing, we can go primary, secondary, of course, and the carbon side skirt. We also have the street skirts in both primary, secondary, and carbon. Also the primary racing skirt in primary, secondary, or carbon as well. GT skirt as well. I think that I want to go for something a little more basic with this. I think I'm just going to go for the secondary side skirt to get some more white on the bottom of the car. Looks pretty good. For the spoiler option, we have a few different options here. We got the primary performance spoiler, which I do think looks really, really good. We also have it in the secondary as well, or of course plastic. We have the primary aggressive spoiler, secondary as well, and plastic. And then of course the primary GT, secondary GT, and the plastic GT. I really like the look of the primary performance spoiler. Let's go for that one. For the sun strip on this vehicle, we could add one if we wanted to. I don't have a livery option though, so I feel like it looks kind of silly, so I'm not going to put that on. We are going to lower the suspension as much as we can though, so let's do that. For the trunk, we can also go for the secondary stock trunk or the carbon stock trunk as well, which is kind of cool to have the ability to do that. I'm not going to change it. I think it looks good, so let's leave it alone. For the wheels on this car, I feel like the Cheetah Carbon Rs are a great option. There's not much carbon on this car, but I feel like this is a nice kind of accent. However, I think that I'm just going to go for the regular Cheetah RRs and just paint them black, because I feel like that's going to look pretty good. They actually come black stock, so that's fine. We'll just leave that alone. We could also go like frost white on them, but I feel like that's, yeah, it's too much. So we'll leave it alone. Bulletproof, we will put bulletproof tires on this thing, of course. For the windows, let's tint them all the way out. And that is pretty much it for the customization part of this vehicle. Let's take it down to the ground. We're going to do a full review on this car as well as a sound test. So let's go ahead and just see how that goes. Now, I knew that this thing was an electric car, but of course we had to do the sound test anyways, because it does kind of make a sound. You can slightly hear it audibly when you're going at a faster speed, but at stationary speeds, the only thing you're going to hear is the tires spinning on the front end of this car. So yeah, sound wise, it's electric. That's it. So yeah, don't expect it to sound all that amazing. However, it is an extremely fast car from what I have noticed so far. Even driving this thing around when it was completely stock, it is very, very quick acceleration wise. Now, of course, it is an electric vehicle, so top speed wise, it is going to be a little bit weaker. I'd be surprised if this thing can hit 125. I'd actually be shocked if it can hit 125. So that is a huge drawback with this thing, but also with every other electric car in GTA. Everyone pretty much knows that electric cars in this game have a pretty weak top speed, as they kind of do in real life most of the time, I would say. So, you know, it's definitely fitting to real life, I would say. It is a supercar, so it is kind of disappointing that the top speed is going to be a little bit lower, but obviously for balance reasons, they have to do something, so it kind of makes sense to keep the top speed quite limited. But that's not to say it is not a quick or a fun car to drive. The Ocelot Virtue has insane acceleration. Like going from a stop up to speed in this car is crazy fast. Like, it's ridiculous. It's probably the fastest accelerating like 0 to 60 car in the entire game. I gotta say, it's crazy quick. And the handling for an electric car honestly feels great. It feels way better than most of the other electric cars in this game. It doesn't really have much understeer. The downforce values on this car don't seem to be super high. It actually kind of oversteers, which is pretty typical of an electric vehicle. But it's pretty manageable oversteer, I would say. So it's not bad. It's definitely a pretty fun car to drive, and honestly, you get this thing for free, so it's not bad at all. So is it worth picking up the Ocelot Virtue? Is it worth getting the Ocelot Virtue? Yes, it absolutely is. A free Imani Tech capable supercar that's electric, that has insane acceleration and pretty decent handling. Yes, it certainly is worth getting. In case anybody needed an answer to that question, there you go. The Virtue is absolutely awesome. Definitely a car that you should be getting. Like I said, I will have a video about how to get the Ocelot Virtue coming out right after this, so stay tuned for that if you guys are looking to get this for yourselves. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it for the Ocelot Virtue customization and review in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated, if not dislike. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.